Anything that's really truly long lasting and good is usually not easy, but simple and also worthwhile. It's worth your whole entire life. Hello friends, bonjour mes amis. Welcome to my channel. If you like my content, like, subscribe, comment down below. We're trying to build a community of kind-hearted, good people that are looking for content around healing and just self-care, self-growth. So I'm happy to be here. Welcome, and let's delve right in. So today I want to talk a little bit about a little bit of a heavy topic, but if you've experienced it, then to you that's something that's important to you. And the topic is recovering from a traumatic childhood. When I was 7 years old, my dad passed in a sudden accident, and that sent our family environment to complete chaos. And so I believe healing childhood trauma has to do with realizing what you needed and what you did not get. The gap between those two things is where you as your adult self can start to basically provide for your child self. You can walk into your power, you can stand in your power as your adult self and actually parent and be there and heal and build trust with your child self, and just kind of start the work of reframing and reclaiming yourself and your story, so that you can enjoy less anxiety and less depression and tap into experiencing life a little bit more to the fullest, I should say, versus having some of these things in the background kind of eating at you and you not realizing, okay, like, why is life not working? Why is my emotions not, what I want them to be? So hopefully you find this topic encouraging and that some of these tips are going to help you delve into your own healing journey. So moving right along, the first thing that I have found to help me, and this is going to come from experience, okay? I have read a lot and I have listened and I have done a lot. This is me pulling from my experience, me pulling from what I have done in my own life to kind of help me heal a little bit better. And I think the world needs more healed people and more alive people. And I am so passionate about, talking and helping people through where they're at right now, right? And where they want to be. And sometimes a lot of the momentum, the energy, what you need to push you from where you are right now is looking at where you're coming from a little bit, no matter how painful it is, and kind of like healing parts of your heart, parts of your mind, parts of your story, parts of your self identity that is actually stopping you or becoming an obstacle for you when it comes to your life today and the life you're wanting and the life you're wanting to create. So the first thing that I've done to kind of help me is building a sense of self, okay? This is big. I mean, for you to go through your life, you are going to have to go through your life. And for you to be successful, you are going to have to be successful. But the tricky part of recovering from a traumatic childhood is that you might not have gotten everything you need to really nurture and discover and shape and form your self identity, whether it's because of abuse or neglect or just a lack of knowledge, and not knowing who you are, your likes, your values, what you're about, can actually make you kind of like a ship in the wind, just being blown about by every building your self identity is so important, because growing up, you could have or could have not gotten just the time and the input it takes to kind of study what you like, what your dislikes are, what your value system, your personality type, and all of those things. And so just really delving into, and as you grow up, you also change in different ways. So really establishing a sense of self and accepting yourself the way you are, not in terms of things that you want to make better, but in terms of who you really naturally settle into being, and also knowing that you will change as seasons in your life change, but your sense of self is just this deeper you. Okay. It's your voice. It's the things that matter to you. It's your value system. So yes, you will change your mind about, different things as you grow and change, but your sense of self is basically the you within yourself. Okay. And the thing about growing up in a traumatic situation is that you might kind of dull that self. You might kind of put that self on the back burner. You might not even realize that you don't have a self, that you're just like a reaction to other people's expectations and ideas of who you're supposed to be. And you're just like a reaction, a walking reaction. And so, and most of the time, that's where you're living from. Living from a place where you're trying to people please, or, make sure that that person accepts me and this and that. You are a spark of light that just showed up in the world. Someone may have told you that you were a mistake. They weren't planning on having you. The fact that something happened to you when you were a child made you feel like, well, I was abandoned, or I must not matter. I'm different. This and that, like all the stories, right? The negative stories that sometimes trauma can make us attached to our identity. Just realizing that, okay, I need to reframe some stuff. I need to really write down like who I am. What are my values? What are my likes and dislikes? Who are the people I want in my life that are going to be supportive, that are going to accept who I am versus dictate to me who I should be? What kind of books or, resources or just interactions am I going to have to kind of bolster that sense of self? What kind of boundaries am I going to put in place to show that this is me? Okay, that's you, but this is me, and this is what I like. This is what I want. This is what I think. And it doesn't have to be what you want or like or think, but that's what defines me. And I can do another series on boundaries. There's so much healthiness that comes out of having good boundaries, and building a sense of self is basically you kind of defining your boundaries. So delving into building that sense of self is such a big topic, but I'm gonna give 5 ways that can help you heal childhood trauma, but these are all super big things. I wish there was an easy way to go about your healing journey, but it's not necessarily easy. But what good thing is, you know? Anything that's really, truly long lasting and good is usually not easy, but simple and also worthwhile. It's worth your whole entire life to be the best version of yourself, really. And so the second point I wanted to talk about is cleaning up your environment. This is what I call cleaning up your environment. It's a few things, okay? It relates to your mind, yourself, okay? Clean up your mind. You told yourself these stories about yourself that are not necessarily true, but as children, we try to, cope with our environment and cope with whatever happens to us. So sometimes we can tell ourselves these things and grow into adulthood with these stories attached to us and our identity. And we don't sometimes even realize that we have these stories, okay? Until you sit down and kind of start doing some work on yourself. And that can be done in so many ways. Spirituality, I believe, using the word of God to transform your mind and your thinking is a big way to do that. Affirmations, daily affirmations, just speaking positive things into your mind and your subconscious so that you start to believe new things, because what you believe translates into what you do and how you feel. Clean up your mind, basically, is one of the ways to clean up your environment. Another way is to clean up your relationships, okay? If you have negative, toxic friendships that are not supportive, or, are not supportive of who you are wanting to be, or your true self, right? Because sometimes you might be going around in like a little bit of like a not so true self, and so then you've built friends around your your made up self, your coping self, your survival self. And so then sometimes when you start to break out of that self identity, it can shake your relationships, and you kind of have to look at it and say, okay, this is who I've been based off of these negative patterns that I have in my mind. But since that's not really who I am, right? It's just come from, these thoughts have come from what I've been through. This is really who I am. This is where I'm headed. Sometimes it's going to have to require some friendship cleanup. And as harsh and hard as it sounds, it is what it is. It's either somebody grows with you because you're tracking the same way, or they don't, and they say, I don't like who you're becoming because I kind of liked you as a friend because you were this way. That friend might need to go, and it doesn't have to be in a toxic way. And friendship, ends don't have to be negative. They can be very amicable. They can be, this is the situation at hand and I want more. And at the end, and yes, feelings can be hurt and everything else, but I think life is a journey. Our lives are like rivers, we're flowing. The minute you get stagnant and you start breeding mosquitoes. I didn't know where that came from, but there you go. So, So clean up relationships sometimes. Toxic relationships can also be dating relationships that, were great at one point, but you're like, okay, I'm healing and this is not who I am or who I want to be. And I think I need to move on, and being brave enough to go through this. And to take these steps. And there's sometimes these things are not easy to do on your own. With your current mindset, your current anxiety level, your current sense of self, these things might not be easy to do on your own. And that's where coaching comes in. And I am a licensed health and life coach. And I love taking people through a transformational 90-day transformational process where you can actually, set goals, set habits that are going to just transform your life towards where you're wanting to be versus where you're at right now. All to say, that's one of the ways. Therapy, coaching, spirituality, cutting out toxic, relationship, foods, habits, just cleaning house. Okay, that's the second point. The third point is your routines, okay? Ethelle Foy, she's a great coach. She said, the secret of your future are hidden in your daily routines. Whatever you're doing daily tells about where you're headed. Okay? Because future success is not like a one-time thing. It's a lifestyle. And so whatever you're doing daily is what's going to be who you are. So basically, routines are huge. They're just huge. But if you don't have the right mindset, you don't have the right sense of self, and you're in the right environment, it's really hard to build the right routine, because right now your routines might actually be working against you. Self-care, building self-care routines, building play into your routines, building beauty, space care, all these things that help support you as a person and help you just build a robust support system while you're trying to heal, while you're trying to grow, while you're trying to transform. These mindfulness is another big one. Is just going to help you heal. It's going to help you start telling yourself new stories about who you are, believing new things about yourself, believing new things about what you can do, and what you've been placed on this planet to do, and not looking to people to validate you and say, oh, this is who you are. This is what it seems you're supposed to be doing. This is the place where you're supposed to stay. Everyone needs to discover what their purpose is, what they're meant to do season after season, and routines are going to just give you the momentum, right? The momentum that you need. A little block of wood can stop a train from starting, a whole train from starting, okay? Because it's just right there at where it's trying to start. But once the train starts to move, even a car or house cannot stop it. Okay. And that's the power of momentum, and routines give you momentum. It might not seem like a big thing that you wake up every single morning and drink a cup of lemon water. But that momentum done over time is going to detox your body, is going to transform your body. And again, this is where a coach comes in too, to help you build these routines with accountability, support, and consistency, right? Fourth topic that I want to talk about is becoming a lifelong learner. I believe that as a trauma survivor, being a lifelong learner is huge, because you're learning about how to take care of your body. You're learning about how to foster healthy relationships and interact with people in positive ways. You're learning about the world, the environment, how to engage with nature, how to take care of the earth. You're learning about parenting. You're learning about home care, space care, all these things. Okay, there's so many things, but there's so many days. If you're still alive, there's another day to learn something new. And so being a lifelong learner, learning about psychology, learning business skills, education, all of these things are going to help you understand yourself, help you understand life, help you understand, finances, just different things, so that you can support yourself, you can heal, you can turn back that statistic of, oh, if you had trauma in your childhood, A, B, C, and D. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be that way, because you still have purpose, and you still have a voice, and you still have life, and you have the power within you to heal and to seek out healing and to progress. So that's the fourth point, being a lifelong learner. The final but not the least point is a loving, supportive community. So this can look like a good partner, okay? It can look like good friends that support your growth. This is so important. Good friends that support your growth, okay? Because sometimes, they say a friend in need is a friend indeed, but sometimes actually a friend in success is actually harder to find. And you guys, some of you might know exactly what I'm talking about. And so finding supportive, loving people that are like, yes, we're cheering you on. You go get it. We don't know who you are. You show us. Wake up every day, find out who you are, and show us. And we're going to be here loving you and cheering you on. That's the kind of relationships that you want, whether from a partner or friends or, co-workers, working environments where you're, celebrated, appreciated. Those are the kinds of supportive environments that you want to find yourself in. And if that's not available, you need to keep looking. You need to keep looking, because you've already been through too much. And as you are the change that you want to see, the world becomes a safer place, right? Your legacy, your children, or, your friends' children, whoever you get to interact with that is, the younger generation, they get to benefit from your work and your healing and your forward thinking. Toxicity and trauma affects life and generations, okay? If we're not aware, what happens is we keep passing on the trauma. And that's what generational curses, generational trauma is all about, because people do not come aware. If you're here, I believe that you want to do the work and you're wanting something more and you're wanting to heal. And I say kudos to you. Like, I salute you. I just have high respect for people that are wanting to do the work of changing themselves, to be more healed, to be more in alignment with their purpose, and to nourish the earth, to nourish the world with their presence, instead of destroy and cause trauma and bring more toxicity. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my video and for sticking with me. And if you like this kind of content, come back for more. I'll be posting, I'll be talking and sharing. If you are interested in coaching with me, you're welcome to reach out. I have my information down below, and keep doing the work. Much love. Until next time.